Yeah. To the Supreme God, to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones, we humbly invoke for your divine guidance, divine love, divine blessings, for illumination, for divine oneness, divine bliss, divine health, and divine protection. We thank you in full faith. So be it. So, friends, last class we majorly focused on expectations and how expectations creates a burden on our energy system, and why all of these things are important is when our goal is self-realization, which is the goal for all the human beings actually. So when our goal is self-realization, if something is not taking us to our goal, then it is an overhead. It is basically like a vampire. It is like an energy vampire. Energy vampire is something that is sucking our energy and not allowing us to go there. So, last class, what I discussed was also an energy vampire, which is majorly expectations. And just to summarize what we spoke in the last class with respect to expectation, Anju, can you sit in one place? The screen keeps moving otherwise. Yeah, thank you. Or you can switch off your video and go around here and there. Yeah, thanks. No problem. Feel comfortable. So what was that expectations I was talking about is why do we expect something from somebody? Because we have a certain desire to be met. And um, everything is connected to happiness. All the desire that we have in the world or are related to something that we don't have, and we are going behind that desire to seek pleasure or seek happiness from whatever that is we are seeking. So a desire is not just I want a home, I want a new car. Those I'm not even talking about those desires. I'm talking about simple things like in our major energy vampires are when it comes to dealing with people, all kinds of different people that we have in our life, right? It may be friends, people may be very friendly to us, people may be like um enemies like in the sense you hate relationship, you all may have a hate relationship towards each other, you all may have a totally indifferent relationship towards each other, you all may have a friendship towards each other, you all may have a relationship like a mother and child, where I mean typical mother and child, where there is only well wishing. A mother is mostly like a well wisher and there is no expectations back, ideal mother, or such a mother is majorly God only now. I don't think even mothers like us have zero expectations from our kids. So, which is why we are working in this class now. So, in that sense, so all kinds of people come into our life. Different kinds of people come into our life, and we have different expectation because all these different people show us all different kinds of nature that we already have within us, because one person cannot show everything, like the way one person cannot play the role of a police, a thief, a judge, and so many things. Similarly, one person in our life cannot play all different roles. So there are different varieties of people in our life. And in Bhagavad Gita they say it all boils down to 9 different kind of people. When the God talks about that in the 6th chapter, he speaks about 9 different kinds of categories of people who come into our life, and everything boils down to those kinds of people. So either way, what I'm saying is they just point us to our triggers. They all point us to our triggers. And when I say trigger, typically word trigger is used to for bomb explosion, right? Like a bomb blast. They say a trigger. So what does that mean? We have a bomb inside us. A bomb is mostly like a waste kind of thing. It is not useful in the world. It is just a waste when it is basically misused in the world. It destroys the world. So that is what is called a bomb. And such bombs we carry within us. It is like an energy ball with a negative energy within it, an energy spark of negative or energy that is full of negativity. When it is exploded, it only brings destruction into our life. The more you nourish that bomb, it will only bring destruction, which is why it has become a bomb, because we have constantly nourished it. So such those things we already carry. So the world, every single minute, there are different kind of POSCs that are coming into our life constantly to show these bombs that are hidden in our minefield. We have like a minefield where here and there, here and there, here and there in our energy system, there are these bombs. And it is like as we keep rising in our consciousness, these bombs will reveal themselves. In the past, let's say there are 10 bombs here, and then when you are here, you won't be able to see these bombs. Only when you are here, you will be able to see these bombs, something like that. So as we keep going to a higher consciousness, there are always bombs that are getting revealed. And who is revealing these are the messengers of God, which are our POSCs, are revealing these bombs to us. How are they revealing? Through their behavior, through their interactions, we get to know. How do we know? Because we feel the energy of that bomb. It's like something is like slowly becoming more hot and hot in terms of feelings. You start becoming uncomfortable in its presence, in their presence, or in that behavior's presence, or in that interaction. Something is basically becoming displaced. It is not in the center, it is sort of getting displaced. So then you know that then you're getting uncomfortable. You don't like, you just want to run away. So ego is now trying to protect itself from some destruction, that a bomb explosion. So it wants to run away, or it wants to hide itself, it wants to fight back the bomb. So many things happen, right? So which is what we try to do with the POSC. At that time, what is the best solution to do here is to understand that I am not what is this called? I am not the expert on bomb diffusal. I am not the expert. We cannot read multiple books and all kinds of gyan and this and that to say that I can control, I can do this, I can do that, I'm going to change my nature. It won't happen. Have you ever tried to do that? I mean, years together, I'm sure before we've sat in this class, years together, we've tried to work on ourselves and we've not seen a lot of progress. There is always disappointment because we try to have this much of expectation of ourselves, but then we end up not meeting it, and which is again, we are in that spiral. So hence, what is the first rule of thumb that we have to understand is I am not the bomb diffuser. I am only I'm just a person who is aware enough to understand that there is this bomb that has just got revealed because of this experience. That's it. Now the bomb will explode. Okay, the bomb will explode. And now what happens typically when the bomb explodes? Destruction happens, and people around will die, buildings will get destructed. So many things that we don't like happens, no? Similarly, when the bomb explodes itself, as soon as the trigger happens, people have exploded that bomb within us because it was already there. How will that energy that you have constantly stored, all that negative energy that is in the form of, let's say, a ball, how will it just get out of your body? One way is through these triggers. And eventually as we grow in this journey, we will get to know that there are these bombs, and then we will be able to what do you say, go through that journey of acceptance so easily, where the acceptance itself is the skill of acceptance, or that, let's say, the God's energy of acceptance, the skill of acceptance, whatever you can call it, that itself is a diffuser. So here I am not, my ego is not the destroyer, because ego created the bomb in the first place. So how can the ego itself be the diffuser? It cannot be, no? So when the bomb explodes, then we get to know, oh my God, the bomb was within me. And now what happens to all this energy that is getting escaped now? All that anger, hate, and then the all of that jealousy. Suddenly you realize, oh my God, I'm jealous. In fact, I shouldn't be jealous about this. Let's say I shouldn't be jealous about my own friend. I should actually be happy for her. Whatever is that, your knowledge is telling that you need to be happy, but what is this? I'm feeling jealous. Then you feel so ashamed, saying, oh my God, I always wanted to be happy for her. I should be happy for her. But now I'm feeling jealous. Now you'll feel ashamed of yourself. Then you're going into guilt mode, all that. So, which means while you're basically witnessing one bomb explosion, your rather that energy is used to feed other bombs. So what should we do at that time? We just have to stay with only that jealousy energy or whatever that you're experiencing. Just watch it. Oh yeah, this bomb exploded jealousy. By the construction of the bomb is done by the belief system. The belief that, oh, if XYZ happens, then this is what it is, types. Whatever is the sentence that you have around it that actually made you jealous, that is that is the structure of the bomb. That is what actually created the bomb. And then inside that bomb was called that energy called jealousy, for example. So now the jealousy is all coming out because the bomb exploded, no? So just acknowledge that there is this jealousy within you. That's it. That's enough. No need to take action on that. And that acceptance has to come with humility. It has to come with humility that, okay, it is the energy that I had, what do you say, nourished. I had with great love, with great dedication, with great, what do you say, willpower. I had put water into that bomb to create that bomb. When people create bombs, when terrorists and all create bombs, they actually do it with a lot of passion. So much of intelligence goes behind it, so much of science and technology goes behind it, and then they create a bomb. Similarly, when we have created our own bombs, like our ego and belief systems and all that, we also have put a lot of passion into those belief systems. We have put a lot of understanding and all of those things into those belief systems, and then we have uh, done what we think is absolutely right when we actually create. But today, in current time, in this current consciousness, it does not serve us, which is why it has become it has become negative. See, when you are in this state, this is not called negative, and the belief systems that are here are absolutely working for you in this current consciousness. But when you are here, this is now a negative belief system. Whatever you created here needs to go, right? So hence you will release it here. You will release it means you will have to detach from it here. So at some point you'll have to detach from everything, right? Because you're constantly ascending like this. There will always be something that you leave behind and then you go forward in your life. So this is called growth. This is called ascension. This is called evolution. And this climb will always let go of something that is trash. All these belief systems will always become bombs and they'll have to let go of. And at that time, we just have to acknowledge that it was all of that within me. The person in front of me is not responsible to make me jealous. And because here we created that jealousy, but here it doesn't make sense. We should not really be worrying about this, the jealousy and other things that are getting released here, because the very understanding of, oh, I had to be happy for them, but now I'm feeling jealous, itself is an awareness, no? Itself is like a paschatapa. Itself is like a remorse that you feel. That is more than enough. It is, you know what is the right thing to do. That itself is more than enough. So now you don't have to make that jealousy, you don't have to resist that jealousy that is. You just have to stay with it because it is trying to leave you. Everything here, everything that was created here is leaving you here. So why should we stop it again? We should not have attachment. Why do we stop when somebody has come home? They say, okay, I'm going to leave. I don't want, I'm just going to go. They'll say, no, why don't you stay for another 2 days? Why? Because you have more love for them. You want them to stay back. You want to spend more time with them. So similarly, Don't have attachment. Don't have attachment to the bombs that are just getting triggered and triggered. Just be aware. Just understand the um, all this process that God has created this entire system so that we grow, we ascend, and in this ascension, there will always be something that we'll have to let go of. Okay, so this is what is called the acceptance process. Accepting that what was always within me, which is no longer needed, is already leaving. It may be very bitter because bomb is obviously not like a fragrance of roses or something, right? Which we always want to, it's not like jasmine or something. It is going to feel difficult. It is going to feel, what do you say, painful and all of that. But we have to stay with it. There is no other choice but to stay with it. And we don't know how long it is going to take. For example, whatever happened in, what do you say, in the nuclear explosions of the past, it has taken years and years together for the effect of that nuclear bomb to basically reduce. So it may take some bombs, maybe so huge, it may take so many years to get diffused because they will be such big bombs cannot be triggered by one person within one day or within one experience. It probably will take it will come in installments. The same experience might come in different flavors. So all that you have to do is always be watchful, be aware of what is getting triggered, and acceptance itself is a diffuser. Acceptance with humility. There is no blame game. There is nobody else involved in this acceptance process except you, and this understanding that it was always within me. Now I don't need it. So let me allow it to go as long time that it needs to get out of my system. So just have to stay with it. I mean, when I mean to say stay with it, it doesn't mean that you basically become a statue and then keep watching yourself like this. It just means that you don't pay too much of attention to whatever is happening within you. You just, yeah, I know it's happening. It's just that I know it's happening. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me anymore, kind of thing. So you're not giving undue attention anymore. Attention, wherever attention goes, energy flows. So if you don't want to put more energy to grow that kind of energy to create a new bomb or something, why do you want to pay attention to that? Attention means you want to grow it. You are, you want some happiness again from it. We are always giving attention to something that we want happiness from. So if we don't want happiness from this, we should just allow it to go off. Like let's say something happened in some country. Why do we have to pay attention to that? Why do we have to keep talking about it? Why do we have to keep reading about it in the newspapers? We have so much of stuff that we only have to do for ourselves, right? So we are, as of now, not those self realized, enlightened people where we can be for everybody, we can think about everybody, we can be that light that everybody can, like, spread that light into the world. No, we are not there yet. God still cannot use us as his instruments because we are very fickle even now. Our egos is still predominant. So our job is to make our goal self-realization, and every single time ask yourself, am I basically feeding the ego, or am I feeding, rather going towards happiness for God? Happiness means, am I going towards self-realization? So, so when we ask ourselves these questions, then we will be willing to sit with that acceptance and detach from all of those feelings. Yeah, okay, fine. Somebody insulted me. So what? So what? What happened? Did you break your leg? Is it as painful as a fracture or whatever? No. It is just that my something got triggered within me. It's okay. Don't care. So that thick skin we'll have to develop. Okay, so that is what we discussed. So that is what is called acceptance. And then we also discussed that when we have expectations, we are running behind desires, which is again coming from a place of lack. I don't have this, I don't have that. Some feeling is there. I don't have respect from somebody. trying to push people. So there are so many things that we do. I mean, so when you go back to asking yourself, why am I doing this action? Is this action going to please God? Is this action going to make God happy? If you're not asking that question, there are so many things that we do without even putting our mind to it. So, so when we go behind expectations, behind somebody, like in my case, I would have probably expected my child to probably come and then do some namaskara to God or something. Then I ask myself, she'll be like, "Ha, I already did. I already did." So then I'm asking myself, why am I having these expectations from them? Do I really care? I mean, my daughters are old enough. They are not still young where I can actually teach them anymore. That time is gone. So they will become teachable or only when they are ready to receive. Okay, when children are little, you can basically make them sit and listen because that is more, they are more like a sponge. But then when children are quite old enough, teenagers and all of that, they have already formed their identity. And if they have not learned until then, if they've not learned means it doesn't, you don't have to blame yourself. It is just that a combination of our karma and their karma has come together. And in that mixture is what is the result that we have today. We can't blame each other because like I said, in this game, there is only acceptance, there is no blame game. So we can't blame ourselves also in this whole thing. It is forbidden. Okay. So we can only accept life the way it comes, accept that there is this bomb that I had created when I did not know any better, or I needed it. Like, let's say I was in the terrorist gang. Let's say in the past I was a terrorist and I've created all these bombs with great passion. Now, if the same bombs are coming and exploding in my own life, what can I do about it? Right? Something like that. I'm just giving an example. I can't do anything about it. I just have to face my own creation, right? That is a humility that we'll have to, that is a responsibility that we show. That is the accountability that we show that this is what I did. If I can't handle it, then why should somebody else take the crap from me? Something like that. So that is where that acceptance has to come in, that it is within me and there is no other choice. I have to endure it. I have to stay with it. I have to let it go. I can't do again reaction and then again create another bomb, so that won't work. So anyway, so that was acceptance. And then this expectations that we have on somebody, it is like, let's say your consciousness is here and you are suddenly looking for a happiness from somebody. Okay, what are you willing to give? There is always a trade, energy trading that happens. What are you willing to give for that? What we are saying is, if you do this, you're telling it to oppose. Okay, if you do this for me, why don't you do this? Why don't you, let's say, go early to school, or let's say, why don't you cook your own food, or why don't you keep your clothes in order? When we are having these expectations, typically understand what is happening. We are Now our goal is, let's say, self-realization. We are working very hard, and then every day something or the other. We are working on our energy vampires, all of that, and then we are, let's say, in this point of consciousnness. Now what? Now suddenly you have these expectations from people because now you're not able to not in that awareness to understand your triggers yet. Okay, let's say we have still become very personal with our relationships. We are still not in that awareness to accept, to apply the processes taught in the class. We are in the game, we are in the maya, we are in the drama kind of thing. Then what happens? We are so brain dead that we basically are willing to trade what we've earned for this small happiness that we want from here. So what we do, imagine whatever is here is like a currency. So what we are saying is we will take some of this currency and put it on the gambling table, and then we obviously now became so much more less. Okay, we were so much more rich in terms of, let's say, our spiritual merits. Now we have come down to this level. Why? Because the rest of it is on this table. Now the other party is supposed to give us that happiness. Now there are two possibilities. The other party will give you happiness and the other party will not give you that happiness. So technically, because you went down from one point to another point of consciousness, typically the happiness that you had experienced here in your life in general is now reduced. So what happens? What the Shastras also says, if you have, wherever you have expectations, there is always a package deal, which is sadness. What is sadness? It means that typically it won't match your expectations. Just give me a minute. I will have to answer this call and then say, no, I won't be able to. Right? From this point, we had gone down to this point. There is always that sadness because whatever, even if they fulfill that demand that whatever we have asked for, it will always be unsatisfactory. It will not be very satisfying in nature. You'll be like, okay, for example, let's say you'll ask them to fold their clothes. I'm just giving simple examples that we typically face at home. Let's say you'll ask them to fold the clothes. They'll be like, no, I don't have time. I'll do today. Then you'll do for two more follow-ups and blah, 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 and all that. Let's say after 10 times they will do. And even when they do, they would have probably done like this and then dumped it into the wardrobe. Then, hey, you're anyway doing. Why should you do it in such a, let's say, shoddy manner? See, again, we were not happy. We were not happy that they actually did that job. So this is what is called the, because it's all the energy at play. Okay, it is, don't think that it is them. Okay, we should not get caught up with the Maya. What I'm saying is it is always that energy drop that made this happen. So again, even if they fulfill it, it will not be to your satisfaction. So again, what happened? You lost here, you lost even when they fulfilled. Okay, you lost, that happiness did not come fully. So the return on investment of this did not give you full returns. Then next possibilities, they don't fulfill. If they don't fulfill, so then whatever investment you have made with your spiritual merits, which is called your punya or something, right? Whatever you've earned, even if you had invested, now this is a waste. It is like a dead investment. You did not get returns for that at all. So, which is why it says, do not expect anything from anybody because it's always your loss. So, a person who is willing to go and think seriously about their goal of self realization will not want to drop down in the first place because it was so hard to even climb up, no? Why should we be willing to drop down for a loss? That is something that we need to introspect upon every time ask yourself, I'm expecting this from this person. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? So can I just drop this expectation? Why am I going behind this feeling of lack? I can rather introspect on why am I feeling this lack, or take it as a trigger and then just, oh yeah, I have this feeling of lack. So this introspection is very necessary. See, application of knowledge means thinking. Thinking and putting this knowledge into practice is what is called application, which is you need to teach your own mind, talk to your own mind. Like this is what is called, even in when they say churning of the butter, when you in Krishna's period and all, they basically what you say, did this to the curd and then they churned the butter out. Butter is nothing but the cream, and that cream comes when you do all this. No, when you churn your mind like this with all of these thoughts, you juggle, and put all of this, then whatever comes to the surface, and this is the right thing to do, this is how I will act, this is how I'm going to do this. So when you, whatever comes out in that whole introspection is what you call that, right? That churning, that is your wisdom. And that is so strong because it came from within. No, that butter that you make, only you can actually use for your life. You can't use my butter. You can't use anybody's butter. You have to use your own butter for your own life application. It will not, your mind will listen to only that because your mind was involved in that churning, and it only made that butter. It was the cook or it was the chef of that butter. So it will listen to that butter. It will not listen to anybody's butter. Hence, how much ever books we read, how much ever talks we listen to, how much ever gyan we listen to people, it is just a waste. It is absolutely like another garbage sitting inside, another lots of some more belief systems, some more bombs that are ready to explode in future. Trust me, even spiritual knowledge is a bomb. It will also get exploded sometime in the future. So when such spiritual people come and then trigger it for you, that will also get released. So there is no knowledge in the world except for knowledge on God. Even that also will go sometime when a person is in that samadhi kind of state, and absolutely it is nothing, like nirvikalpa samadhi kind of state. Then that also will go off. The formation of God also will go off. That also will become a belief system. I mean, let's not go so far, but all I'm trying to tell is unless you put anything to practice, it is all going to become a garbage, which has to be thrown out someday. So be mindful, don't do too much of shopping on knowledge, especially. Put a lot of effort in practice. Okay, so this was what we discussed last time. So this time, what I wanted to share was more about what is it that I can, what actually drains my energy, or rather, where is that gambling involved? Like I'm willing to drop down, I'm going to give my punya, I'm ready to give my punya for some loss where there's no return on investment. So where are these areas that happens, and where are these areas that happen where you are willing to, where there is a lot of return on investment? So typically, if you are not reacting, wherever basically you're responding to a situation. Responding means more about let's say somebody insulted you, you are not shouting back at them. You know that, okay, yeah, okay, now inside this is what happening, this is what is happening. You are putting all the class knowledge into your head, and then you know that, okay, bomb was triggered, blah blah. All of that happened, and now when they're insulting you, you are like, whatever sentence comes which is not really hurtful in nature, which has nothing to do with this POSC, you're just or you're smiling, or you're just, okay, fine, blah, whatever, you just talk something. You are mentally not actually fighting back, you're not reacting. Okay, so there you are also growing, because your mind did that churning effect. Okay, your response. Okay, where are you in control? What all you can control? Okay, where are things that are always in your control? Means where karmically you are breaking all of those old bonds. Typically, we are in acceptance kind of thing. So I can definitely control my response, which because I'm not reacting anymore. Then I can definitely also, all the energies that come out, I can be in acceptance. Then I can definitely control the way I speak. Why do I speak the way I speak? When I'm talking to somebody, why do I speak? Is there any bad intention, cunning intention, or you're speaking with sarcasm? So watch what you speak and how you speak. So you can control your speech, right? Mentally, acceptance and all of those things, response. You can note down these points, or I can basically send it to you in the form of a picture. Then who do I choose to spend my time with? This is also very important. Are these people going to help me to go to self realization? See, especially there are in Bhagavad Gita, there are some class of people who say they are your, like you come with certain relationships. You cannot break. Typically, we cannot break from your parents. You can't break your parents' relationship. You can't break from your sibling relationships. You can't break from that ancestral line that you've been born to, because now you're already born into that family. And then next level, your the maybe the family that you're getting married to. Again, there is an energetic link into that family. So again, there also. But you can definitely choose people that you are not meeting daily, friends and groups that you're interacting with. Definitely you can choose the people that you're interacting with. Why? Ask yourself whether am I always see this you can always think that, oh yeah, they are also my POSC, right? So if I'm in acceptance, they will constantly keep triggering something or the other, then it's good for me, right? Yeah, it is good for you, but do you think we are like having this endless energy to keep doing acceptance? No, we can't do that. We also have to parallelly use our time wisely. We have to cut off from things, detach from things that are constantly draining our energy for nothing, which is not taking us to self realization. We have to detach from many things. So, here again, if the sometimes you might say, oh yeah, I have these relatives who are constantly gossiping, and then there is so much of talk. Like I said, if there is family, we may not have a choice. Again, they are something that you have to work with to diffuse your bombs. But then when it comes to, let's say, some unnecessary friends and this and that, definitely you can choose. This is where you have to think, because we can't, rather, a teacher will not be able to say, or I will not be able to tell how what you have to do in your life. And there is no right or wrong about these things. You can say, oh yeah, they're very close to me, they're very close to me, they are greater than family to me. Yeah, so be it. So if they are greater than family to you, then they become your POCs. So we have to define, yeah, do I really need this to be connected to this group? Do I need to really be connected to these people? If you have a choice, maybe. Then, if you're like, why do we have to keep spending time, let's say, on something where you can actually choose to connect to God, or come back at home, come back in the house, maybe stay silent, do some chanting, do something or the other, which will connect you to God. See, if you should ask yourself, why do I have the time to like, out of 24 hours, or let's say out of 16 hours or 17 hours, where is my time mentally going? Is it going towards the world, constantly getting drained and drained and drained, or is it going towards God, where I'm doing that chintan of God? See, when we think about self-realization, yeah, we want to self-realize, we want to self-realize, which means God is the only person that you want in self-realization, which means the God within you. So if we want him so badly, then we should obviously focus on him, right? At least try to go towards him or something like that. So hence we have to think of where we choose to spend our time, who do we choose to spend our time with, then my attitude in general, what kind of attitude do I show in front of people? So what's your attitude? Then the way I treat others, some people I treat nicely, some people I don't treat nicely. All of these we can definitely choose to control, which means our karma is um our karma is definitely going to, it's shaping our karma based on whatever we do. If I don't if I'm not react if I'm reacting but I'm responding, I'm able to respond properly, it is definitely a growth. If I'm detaching from some unnecessary relationships and then going back towards God on a daily basis, I'm definitely choosing towards God. So many of these things. And then what do I talk to myself? Am I constantly saying, Ayo, you're such a waste, you don't even do anything, you are always committing something, but you're not following it, you are like this, you are like that, demeaning ourselves. We can't judge ourselves also. No judgment, because that is also forbidden. Forbidden in the sense it doesn't work. Whatever you do to yourself, it is equal to you doing to somebody else also. So it doesn't work. It is like that only. You, if you can't judge others, you can't judge yourself also. You have to just be in that moment of acceptance, whoever you are. Because who said that we are saints? We are not saints. Just because we are on the spiritual path, we have not suddenly become saints or anything. We are still having a lot of stuff, lot of garbage that we have to dispose of. that we don't want to dispose of. Lots of hoarding mentality. Lots of hoarding mentality. We think that hoarding mentality is only with respect to objects. No, hoarding mentality is with respect to the attachments we have towards our bombs. That is hoarding mentality. If we are able to practice that with our belief systems, we can definitely start detaching from the objects that we are hoarding. This constant accumulation has to go. And when we start being mindful of our time, constantly choosing God over many unnecessary things, or even when you're interacting with the world, are you able to see God behind all those people? All of these becomes very important for you to become stable in all your relationships. No, I am up in one relationship, I am down in one relationship, I see good in one relationship, I see bad in one relationship. That means we are still in that cycle. It won't work. We are not even ready for meditation. So meditation comes when we are so stable, when we are so centered, nothing in the world really affects us, and we have already practiced thinking of God so much in the world while interacting with the world, that now sitting in silence and then thinking, just closing your eyes, the very first thought that comes, or the very first thing that comes to your head is God, and then you're always thinking about him. That is called meditation, sitting and meditation. But before that, how much we practice to sit and think about him. So all of this plays a great role in us getting to that source of happiness. If you're doing anything for that source of happiness, then that source of happiness has to come from the right place. Otherwise, it becomes expectation. So where do we drain? What all are our energy vampires? What is out of my control and trying to control that is our energy vampire. Typically, others' opinion about me. Like today, that Lakshmi wrote that message. Somebody was telling me that they were standing in behind the queue and they were commenting about my hair and asking and thinking that, is it a wig? So what is she doing? She's worrying and putting her energy. She's giving her energy. She's willing to trade that energy to fix others' opinion about her. Okay, is it going to help? Is it worth dropping down in your current in your from your consciousness? Absolutely no. Then other people's beliefs and behaviors. We are only suffering to detach from our belief systems, our bombs. Can we control? Are we only able to control our own beliefs? Are we coming to acceptance like this? No, we are not coming to acceptance like this. It needs so much of constant thinking about this class and teachings and all of those things, constant awareness, all of that we need. Grace of God. Primarily, we need grace of God to get that awareness, to even being able to apply all that knowledge. Now, on top of this, do we even have that? Are we even eligible to correct other people's behaviors? Yeah, maybe if it's your children or something, maybe you can tell, only if they're receptive, of course. See, if people are receptive, it means that you have earned it. You have earned it karmically. Receptive POSEs, people who respect you, and your word is like Veda Vakya, they say, no? Your word is like the ultimate truth for them. That means you have literally earned it. You've earned that respect. You've earned that karmically. That is what is like the earning that I'm talking about. So if that is not happening, you have not earned it, people are not listening to you, then it's not worth dropping down in consciousness for an for a loss. Okay, there also there's loss. And then trying to control outcomes. We try to control outcomes when we are not in surrender. So absolutely not worth it. Then we are trying to control the past, or we are trying to constantly think about the past. Again, waste. Again, we are dropping. Again, we are gambling. We are saying, okay, dear past, I'm going to come to you. Rather, mind is saying, give me happiness. See, sometimes our definition of happiness is very weird. We are thinking about some trauma that happened in the past, But why are we going to the trauma? Because somehow that trauma is so familiar to us that suddenly that is also like a dopamine hit. It's like a weird connection in the mind that creates dopamine. It's a sometimes it's hard to of course people with all that neurological explanation can tell that also, but again that is a dopamine hit. Going back to the past and thinking about trauma and going over and over those familiar things and drowning ourselves in those familiar feelings is also like alcoholic addiction. This is exactly why people go to an alcohol and they drink, even if they know that there are side effects, even if they know that there are all of these problems. It is exactly the same thing, that the same dopamine hit comes there also. When we think about traumas and all that past and bad stuff that we don't want, ideally we don't want again for them to repeat in our life. But it's like an alcoholic may say, I don't want to drink, but I can't help it, I go drink. It's more like that. So we are also like that when we think about the past and we are feeling very sorry about whatever happened in the past and whatever stuff that gets generated there. You are just nourishing some of those bombs that you are not willing to let go of. See, memory is also a trigger only. Past memory is also a POSC. Just people are not POSCs. Experience, situations, all of those. This is an experience. You're getting that experience is in your memory. That is also a trigger. You have to again put the practices when that memory comes also. Okay. Then the past, and then trying to control time. We can't control time. We can't control time, but we can definitely be more, would you say, surrendered to time. The way I have experienced surrendering to time in the past, or I don't do it always, but then I've done it multiple times. So let's say I have too much of work that I have to squeeze in. Um, for example, let's say I have to go to the gym at by 10 o'clock, I have my class. Then before that, I would have done all this kitchen duties and all of that. And then I also have about 1 to 1.5 hour of puja and stuff like that, and stotra and all of that. I have to tell them and then I have to go, which means I have to take bath and then sit for all of those things. So sometimes what I do is I feel that there is a timekeeper, and then I tell timekeeper, can you please help me finish all of this God's work before I go to the gym? I don't want to compromise on that. So I mean, I just express, but at the same time, I'm also okay if that is not met. I'll think that if it is not met, maybe it was for a purpose. Maybe I didn't have to do it. That is why it did not happen. But if it happens, oh yeah, great. Thank you so much. It is more like that. So I've done this many times, not just for this situation, for so many other situations where I tried to want to do multiple things in a specific time period, but ego will probably think that it is impossible to do that. But when I have surrendered it to a timekeeper in my imaginary timekeeper, it sort of has worked. I can't really tell why, but then maybe it's the surrender and trying to be open. It has worked, but then typically time is something that is not in our control. It is a surrendered thing, which means again I didn't use time to control. I've not tried to control time. It is more of surrender, which means I'm saying um, I'm just watching it and I'm more in that kind of state. Then what others say about me, what others think about me, right? Opinion of me, the way other people treat me, the external events that are happening in my life, the way people speak to me, the way people speak to me, my own aging. When we try to gray our hair and all that, what are we trying to do? We are trying to deny that aging, and we are trying to reverse age. It is good to have a healthy lifestyle and all of that, but there is no purpose behind all that. The purpose should, for anything in life, for anything, for any form of healthy habits or whatever you call it. It is the only focus has to be I'm doing all of these to keep this vehicle healthy, so that if the vehicle is healthy, the vehicle maintenance will not basically take my time. It will not take my mind and my sadhana's time and all of that. So I can use that time to focus on God. So self, if you have working on anything for the body, that body's work has to be only for self-realization. It cannot be for fixing the body. Yeah, the fixing of the body may be the intention, but whether the body will get fixed or no is not in our control, right? So you can try, but it is definitely not in our control. So everything has to be that, yeah, I want this vehicle. I want to focus on making this vehicle so suitable that I will put all that energy to self realize. Because unless the vehicle is perfect, unless the vehicle is able to sit and do some sadhana, where is no, forget about sitting and doing also. Yeah, if you're sitting and doing, great. But if you're not sitting and doing, you have to eventually focus on getting to a state where you can sit to do. Today, why are you not sitting and doing? Because you think something else is far more important. And that is where energy is going. So ultimately, we must understand that mind cannot focus on multiple things at the same time. We may think we are multitasking, but it is just switching so fast that we are thinking we are able to focus on everything at the same time. You can notice that when you are actually telling prayers or something like that, your mind is somewhere else. You're also telling, you're also thinking about something else. So the mind is, it is a fastest. It can be at multiple places at the same time. No, it cannot be at multiple places at the same time. It can only be in one place, and it can only focus on one sense organ at one point in time. And wherever focus that mind and sense organ both are, only their energy is flowing. So hence it's important to bring that kind of channeling it into one single work that we are doing or something like that. Okay, so all of these, controlling the past, controlling the future, controlling what trying to control others opinions about me, other people's beliefs and behaviors, trying to control the outcome, the past, the time, what others say about me, the way people think about me, external events, all of these things are like gambling. It's absolutely like a dead investment, or there is no return on investment, or it is very poor return on investment. So we have to slowly think about some of these things, memorize some of these things, or keep them in our mind and say, okay, this is a waste. I don't have to deal with this anymore. Don't spend your time. If somebody told something about you, uh, who cares? That's it. Because ultimately in your head it should say, no, I'm not spending more energy on this. I'm not willing to give up my self-realizations points for this. No, I'm not willing to give up. So that should be how selfish you need to be about your earnings. If you're not selfish, if you are not thinking about yourself and your, this is what is called self-love. That self-love means I'm not willing to trade this energy points for some unnecessary things where I'm only going to have a loss for some petty coins, which is again not willing to give me some any happiness, permanent happiness. So, so what is in my control only I can grow from. Where you will earn energy, where things are out of my control, it is always going to drain the energy. So don't put energy there at all. Choose to understand which battles you have to focus on. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing in our life. uh, if the goal is very strong, then you will also be willing to focus all of your attention on trying to accumulate these points, because this is the only accumulation we have to work on. This is not called hoarding. This is the only job that we have to do. This is the only dharma that we have to do, work on, which is our self realization. Everything else is every other accumulation and hoarding and all of that will eventually have to slowly reduce. Will be there. We may not be able to apply all of these practices overnight, but all I'm trying to tell is if our journey of acceptance, surrender, all of that has to become better and better, it means that our awareness also has to be there, no, to apply all that. Where will that awareness come? That awareness will come if we are in the right frequency. And if we are always willing to trade that to a lower happiness for some dopamine hits that we are going to get in the world, then we will never grow, no? We will always be, we'll give, we'll take, we'll give, we'll take, we'll give, we'll learn, we'll give. So we'll always be like stagnant in many places. So it's a point to think about. And how you can apply this, only you will know. And how much you're willing to trade your punya for some temporary happiness in the world, that we only have to eventually think about and manage. So yeah. And time is also very important. Where is my time going? If we are constantly spending our time on reels, why are we spending so much of time on reels? Okay, all of this that I spoke about is maybe related to people, relationships, and all of those things again. But what are we trying to seek from this whole thing? Again, that dopamine hit, happiness, highest amount of happiness. It's like starting when an alcoholic starts drinking, he'll probably drink one peg and then he'll be like, oh yeah, I got that hit. Then, but that high will, that threshold limit will continue to keep increasing. Next time he'll have to probably drink one big mug. Then again, he will have to probably drink one big bottle. Right? He'll have to keep going more and more and more and more. So like that, even for us, initially we may probably be in our childhood, we were probably seeing Chitrahar or some small movie songs. Then we were seeing Cartoon Network, and then we went into serials, and then we went into this and that and all of that. Then probably some Sunday movies only used to come in Doordarshan. Then over a period of time, it was like internet all the time, or sorry, what is that? Cable TV all the time. And then over a period of time, it is like never ending Netflix and all of those kinds of things. And now our Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all of those things are giving us instant reels where it is all algorithms are designed for high dopamine hits. So how should we get out of this cycle? The first thing is we have to try to reduce the need of dopamine that we want. Let's say, I'm just giving an example. Let's say if our current dopamine requirement is like 1 glass, hypothetically, we have to say, okay, I'll be satisfied with only half a glass. So now what happens to that requirement of now body, mind, everything is now needing that half a glass, no? So at that time, maybe you can sit, and then the best thing to do is just sit in one place and then just stare at nature every single day. Like stare at nature, stare just out of the window, blank, like how people in, when you go to Vipassana and all of that, there is no phone, there is no, you can't talk to people, you can't say anything, whole day you're there. So in such cases, I'm not even asking you to meditate, I'm just saying, just stay with yourself. Don't even, if thoughts are coming, you can think. Okay, you're allowed to think, but there is no gadgets, there is nothing else, there are no books, there is no people to talk, there is no external assistance at all. So initially, when we start to go into that, no, that also has a tendency to give you a dopamine. Okay, but you will get to know only after you spend time on that state. Then what happened in that half glass that you did not give from those Facebook reels and what, that half glass will start to become full. It will start to get filled up. Then other places could be, you can pick up, instead of going to your cell, you can pick up some books, or you can just sing songs or whatever you want to do. Do something which is not equal to reels and all of that. We can only start to do that. For example, if you are a student, then you can think of putting that into reading a book. Another 15 minutes of reading a book, or another 15 minutes of chanting. See, many of these chantings and all of those things, no, we actually don't like, but we have to make it a habit to sit. We are, why does Patanjali Yoga Sutra and asana and all of that, they talk about staying in that posture. That staying in the posture means staying in, staying connected to God, whether you like it or not. You have to just sit there. So sit there, sit in front of God, start reciting something. You sat there for 15 minutes. No, make it a ritual. Sitting, I'm going to sit here, sit here, sit here, sit here. Later on, after so many days, you will realize that, oh my God, I was able to sit here every single day for 15 minutes. So again, that is a dopamine hit only. So there are so many areas that we can actually get dopamine, but we are trying to get it from social media, or trying to get it from expectation from others, making others' life miserable. And we try to tell everybody, no, I don't have time at all because I'm so busy. Because you don't realize where our time is going. Even please understand, even I'm also working on this. I'm just analyzing, and I'm also trying to do some of these things, which is why I'm trying to tell. So it is up to you where you put your time. So some of these energy vampires definitely exist in our life. And like I said in many of my classes, we are in a dimension where we are not alone. We have a lot of influences from other negative entities who coexist in our time and space, in our time space reality, who, because we are still predominantly ego, right? So ego has a lot of friends because there are other entities who also vibrate at that ego's frequency levels. So what happens is they tend to interfere with our thinking and thoughts and all of those things. So we are definitely vulnerable to many of these. Hence, awareness is so important. Once you're aware, you become a sovereign. Awareness is equal to sovereignty. Sovereignty means I know who I am. I'm aware of what is happening in my mind. I'm exactly what is aware. Okay, let's say even if there is pain, I may not know what is exactly in that pain and all, but at least I'm aware there is pain. I'm aware of what I'm thinking, so that is what is called awareness. But if that awareness is not there, we are constantly going with the flow. If somebody shouted at us, we are also shouting back and forth, back and forth. It's like that energy is going like water without thinking also. So there's a lot of tendency for hijack, for parasite like energies to basically use you as they for example, this is what some book says. It says that some people who die, who have all of these desires, right, when they die they don't cross over. They are still here as energy bodies. Now, what will happen to these energy bodies? You can't stay here in this without a body. So what they do is they depend on people like us to generate those energies. So if I'm a person who is always trying to be going with the flow of anger or something like that, typically what happens is I'll be used. I'll be constantly used to trigger those thoughts. And when I'm always in that blaming mode, when I'm always in that kind of POSZ is my enemy kind of mode, then they'll use me because I'm so great at generating power. No, I'm so great at generating those energies. So those energies are going to be used for their existence because they predominantly thrive on those energies. Good energies, sorry, negative frequencies or positive frequencies. Positive frequencies. See, in duality, what happens? Overly positive or overly negative is both are not okay. You become overly good to somebody or you're overly bad to somebody. Both are wrong. Both will not work. So that is why I said staying in the center is so important. And both these both these places have entities where we are influenced by all of those entities. So hence it's very important to watch and be aware. And to be aware, obviously, we need to know where we are not draining. conservation of energy. In Nature Cure, these are called conservations of energy. Conservation of energy is not just people typically follow it by eating raw foods and juices and all of those things, which is what even I do, but then at a physical level. But mentally also, it is very important that we follow all these things. Then what will happen? We are not draining our energy constantly. When people get tired by the end of the day, oh my God, I'm so tired today. I had so much of work. No, you are not mentally tired, physically tired. You are basically mentally tired because you are constantly in resistance. So this is where resistances are. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, maybe I can take that.
Smita, you were telling that to choose to respond instead of reacting is growth, right? And we not putting expectations and all these things, then we will move towards the positive side. Like why being on the center is important, and even being on the positive side is not good, is not clear.
See, when you are when you are constantly going towards positive, right? When you're constantly trying to seek the positive, let's say why are you seeking to, let's say you are running behind good. When you try to run behind what you think is good, obviously you have an opinion about what is bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So it only means that if you are choosing this side, someday you'll come this side also. It is like a pendulum. If you are going trying to go this side, you will also come back this side.
Okay.
So if that is why being um, non-judgmental or not taking sides is so far more important, especially when it comes to areas where it really does not matter. I have told that we have to choose and stand on in areas, let's say, where there is an abuse, where there is something that you think is absolutely wrong, and I have to stand up for something. Unless such a situation comes, you are only dealing with something that is happening mentally. So definitely you have a choice there. So center in see in duality, what happens? We are constantly losing energy by running this side and that side, this side and that side.
Mm.
But the idea is to come to the center. There conservation of energy happens. In that center, it is more like you are now gathering energy. Like how does a rocket move? A rocket goes up only after it has a lot of energy. It pushes that energy down and it goes up. So why this conservation of energy helps is the same concept is used for that Kundalini Shakti also. It is coming from the bottom to the top. How? Against gravity it is coming. How is it coming? That anti-gravity, how much, imagine how much of that energy it is going against gravity and it is coming up. If it has to constantly keep coming up and then hitting your Sahasraram, it means that so much more energy has to be conserved instead of fear, anxiety, this, that, which is getting, what do you say, dissipated at root chakra, getting dissipated at Swadhisthana chakra, and then one more at Manipuraka chakra. And all these chakra leakages happen. These leakages are nothing but all of these resistances and pleasures and preferences and all of those things. I mean, we have to keep trying. We are not perfect, but we have to, when we remember this, when God gives us the awareness, let's apply. After we getting the awareness, but we are still choosing not to apply, then we have to keep practicing to apply. Practice is so very important. Without practice, a person who practices, let's say a person is naturally very good at something, may not have practiced so much. In general, let's say he's good. But then there is another person who's practicing that skill a lot. Who's better? A person who practices is far more better. That is what even in that is what Krishna says. A person who practices only is the winner all the time. So we have to practice because we can't rely on our intelligence. It can fail us anytime. Our intelligence will fail us, our mind will fail us, everything will fail us. But what will not fail us is that second nature that we have. So if we are able to bring that second nature into us, which is more God in general, then nothing like it. Today, God is not our second nature. He is not even an option as of now. It's a difficult task to choose God as of now. That is the hard reality. It becomes boring. God is boring. His tasks are boring. His chanting is boring. This is boring. That is boring. So we have to try. We have to even our likes and dislikes are like this. Again, pendulum. It's in the duality. Like, dislike, like, dislike, like, dislike. So if you're in the center, you're not choosing to go to likes. You're not choosing to go to dislike. You're just saying, I don't care whether I like it or no. I'm just going to do it. That is what is called practice. Then we'll sit and do it. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes, Smita.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, if we don't have any questions, then maybe we can close.
Thank you, Smita. That's wonderful. When I raised a query in the group and you answered my, whatever query related to that wig and hair.
You went on mute. Yeah.
So I will never waste my energy in thinking why this happened, why those people did. It is all related to saving my energy now. So
Yeah.
I will leave from now onwards thinking about that incident. Thank you,
Yeah.
Smita.
See, when we are not that, like I said, it is good to understand who we are choosing to meet with and all of that I told. But then when we are trying to, oh, I want to be silent, I don't want to mix with people, all of that, we have to ask ourselves, why are we trying to do that? Is it because we want to spend more, what do you say, is the intention for God's happiness, or is the intention to say, oh, they are actually bad people and they are going to drain my energy, so I don't want to be connected to them? So it's more about where is that love stronger? The intention has to be stronger. It's okay to say that, yeah, my energy is probably going to be drained there. It is okay. But then for what are you disconnecting? You're disconnecting it for sitting and doing something at home, not already to not do anything in that same time. I mean, there's a lot of thin line. Maybe at different situations, whatever I tell in this particular context might also change, because every situation, in that situation only you'll be able to say and what is your right and what is your wrong is absolutely very personal. So follow what you think is right, and in general you can apply these principles, but don't take what I told only as a rule or something. That acceptance part, whatever I told, is definitely like a process. But when it comes to understanding where you're draining your energies and all, only you have to apply your mind for that. You only have to apply your judgment. I will not be able to tell you what is right and wrong.
Yeah. Of course, I understood that. It is just that those people were commenting in in Tirupati, standing and wanting to go and see Venkatesh. With that heart, they should, feeling okay, gratitude. Okay, we're standing in the line, but they left that, and those three people are talking about my hair. So there, where I felt ki why people are so down. Coming to a Devasthanam, not worshipping the god, chanting mantras, but they are seeing how's my hair and then commenting on that and all. Now that was taken aback. People are very, very down.
You may be like that now. In general, if you introspect on this, you may be like that now, wanting to chant and all that. But in the past also, you may have gone to a temple. You may have not been so pious at that time. So when we are not pious and we go to temples, what do? We basically look at people, and then we may pass comments. Within us only we may pass comments. We may not go and tell them. But we have all been there. Like they say, every saint was once a sinner.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
which is where we have to, when we look at what is wrong in the others, when we look at what are the doshas in others, that
Yeah.
dosha we are able to see means it is basically getting filtered through our belief systems only, which is why I'm able to make sense and give some label to that. How?
Okay.
Because it was that what do you say? Those programs are within me only.
Okay.
You can, at that time, it's also good to nice to say, hey, no, it's not a wig, it's real. Oh, see, it's not a wig. You can actually play sportively also. Why should we take it personal?
Yes, the same thing I did, with the smiling with the other girl. Is
That's
this right or what, like that? I remembered your first
take
one.
everything casually. We don't have
Yes,
to take life so seriously. I mean,
seriously.
in
Sure,
that
sure.
sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Smita.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. If there are no questions, maybe we can wind up the call. To the Supreme God, we thank you for your divine blessings to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones. We thank you for your great, great blessings. Thank you. Thank you, friends.